Hi guys, this is Atco. Okay guys, this is my part 3 of my Philco 3815 radio repair. It didn't look too bad once I went through part 1 and 2 and got all the bird seeds out of it. Thought it didn't have too much work done, so that's good prior to the original. And I was there to order my new capacitors. Okay, well the capacitors came in, so I thought I'd go through what I did with those. As you can see, quite a few 0.01 microfarads. I had quite a few of those. You see the old paper wax capacitors. And then also there was a big can on the top of the radio that had two electrolytics inside it. One had a 10 microfarad and one had a 12 microfarad. Alright, so I was able to replace those two 0.01 microfarads and a couple of new capacitors underneath and disconnected the can and left the can so it still looks good from the outside looking at it. Then I had this other thing called a Bakelite Condenser. I didn't know what that was. I looked into it. When you put your wiring into the plug, the AC plug, there's a thing called a safety capacitor that goes from each of the lines to ground. And the purpose of that is mainly it is a filter to take some of the noise that comes out of the line coming in from the house. But also capacitors can go short once that they go bad, and last thing you want is a short that'll go directly from the line to the ground. So they have these capacitors there. They're still there for filters, but what they will do, instead of shorting, they will open up. And it's a safety capacitor mainly so that it keeps them from, even if they go bad, they will only go open, they won't short. Alright, so this thing was actually packed inside with some kind of gum or something in there, I guess. In case it would get hot, it would keep from burning the resistor. That's all I could think of. And some people, in order to keep everything looking very original for the age, people will pack those things, clean them all up, put new capacitors in there, and then pack them back again. I had thought about doing it, but then I decided not to. I just put a stand on off the chassis and then just put on my new safety capacitors there. So that's taken care of now. Further into the other side of the rest of the capacitors, I think they were mostly either 0.01 or 0.03 microfarads. And then there was one that was a electrolytic that had two capacitors in there, 2 microfarad and 1 4 microfarad. And so I was able to go in there and replace all those with new capacitors. So after that, everything was done. All the capacitors have been done. I've had good luck. I've worked on 4 antique radios now in the last year, and I've been lucky that other than with a couple little minor problems, the 90 to 95% of the problems were all due to old capacitors. So we'll see how this one does. So since I have a Variac now, I thought, well, let's bring the radio up slowly in the AC. Started at about 10 volts and slowly brought it up to 115. Then I got to 115 and had no smoke coming out, so that was a good sign. I saw the tubes were all lighting up. Bad side is I didn't hear anything. I had the volume all the way up, and I started moving around one of the bands, and only in one little spot I could just barely hear a little bit of static and even a little bit of a station. In some cases that's a little good, something was coming out, but that's all I could get out of this thing. And I tried the other band and that didn't seem to work at all. So I think I did everything right with the capacitors. I think this is just going to be one of those radios. It's going to have some other problems. Still could be those tubes. I don't feel real comfortable in those tubes, especially the one that I broke the grid cap. And even the other ones, even when I tested them on the tester, they all really on a bit on the weak side. I don't think I'm done with this yet. I've got some work I'm going to have to do and look at this, but I'll go through it just a little bit when I turned this thing on so you could see what it was actually sounding when I turned that on. So I'm going to close now, and this is going to be it until I come back to part 4. I'll close off on talking to you guys, but you will hear me for a few seconds when I'm showing the video when I was first turning it on. Alright guys, well, hang in with me. This is Atco, signing off.
It's at full volume. At least there's no smoke yet. I've got it about 110 volts. So this is all I'm going to get. And that only works on one of the brands. I don't seem to get anything out of the other band. Not sure which one's which right now. Okay, well, all the caps have been replaced, and now it's time to do a little tougher troubleshooting.